Good morning and Merry Christmas. Welcome back to the channel. Make sure you tap in and subscribe. Special edition today for all those that cannot be home with their families, whether you're working, whether you're incarcerated, whether you're a prisoner of your own mind, right? Struggling, going through your battling your demons. So yeah, Merry Christmas to everybody out there. This episode is going to be about the difference between GP and SNY. General populations and sensitive needs yard. I was able to see both sides of the house, right? I was able to see both sides of the fence. They're drastically different, extremely different. All right. Start off with general population. That's kind of what you see on TV, lockup, this and that, where it's hierarchy, right? Chain of command, rules, and authority figure. Somebody controlling, right? Or a group or an organization or a gang. So there's structure there. There's definitely structure there, right? They answer to somebody. Nobody goes, it's not a free-for-all. It's not a I'm gonna do what I want when I want, wherever I want, to who I want, right? There's rules, the reglas, regulations, codes, right? There's stuff there. You got to ask for permission to do a lot of things. You don't have a lot of leeway. You don't have no wiggle room, much wiggle room, right? If you want to conduct yourself in a certain way, sell certain things, you're going to have to pay somebody, right? You're going to get taxed. You're going to contribute. You're going to contribute to the cause, they say. So you don't see a lot of weird things on general population. You don't see a lot of you don't see any mental health. You don't see any different lifestyles, right? You don't see that and this is fair across the board, right? You don't see much or any like homosexuality, bisexuality, transgenders on a general population, right? That's drastic. That's different. Okay, that's some of the key differences, right? General population tends to be when they conduct removals or when they stab somebody, remove them from the yard. They're calculated. There's a plan. It's like they coincide, right? It's everything has a purpose. Everything has a reason, right? And it kind of, not that it makes sense, but I guess whatever stage you are in life and in your journey, it may seem to make sense, right? That's what I'm trying to get at. Now, sensitive needs yard. Wow, man, that's a doozy. That one caught me off guard for sure. Going from Centinela State Prison to Donovan State Prison, that was an eye opener. That was a culture shock. That was it was drastic. I was at Donovan for 8 years, and I absolutely refused to accept the things. To accept the things that the way things were, okay? Because I knew that's not how I got down. That's not how I was raised. That's not how I conducted myself. It wasn't my element, okay? Everything about that place, right? Just wild card, man. Free for all, and that's dangerous. That's extremely dangerous. That's probably why I didn't like it. Jeopardizes my staff. It jeopardized the inmate population. It was just fucking wild, cutthroat. So here's some weird eye openers that I got to. That's the sun rising behind me. That's beautiful, right? I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be given this opportunity. It was an eye opener. Going to Donovan, man. one thing right off the bat was the transgenders. I landed on Charlie Yard. It seems like everywhere time you're new, every time you have to go earn your bones, you have to go. So Charlie Yard is you don't want to end up at Charlie Yard at Donovan. You don't. Okay. The type of inmates. Don't get me wrong. There's individuals that have touched down there and they're like, oh man, I used to find that funny, right? When dudes would come from like Calapat, Centinela, they fell in bad graces, bad standings with their organizations, and they had to cross over. They had to cross over to the SNY yard, or they were going to be killed. I mean, that's prison. And I remember the looks on their faces in the holding cell. They'd be like, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. And I'll start laughing because I understood. I got it. I also had made a mistake. Like, but those individuals, they really didn't have a say in the matter, right? You're either going to be targeted for death or you end up on one of those facilities. So it's wild. It's so wild. It's like, man, I remember I was walking the track as a brand new sergeant in front of housing unit 14 or 15. Those two buildings are EOP. Level 4 SNY EOP. The worst of the worst. And don't get it twisted. Just because an inmate's EOP, it doesn't mean that they're really mentally unstable. There's a lot of dudes hiding out in that program. Right? For sure there's a lot of dudes just, they're not crazy. They just like, hey, I'm gonna hide out right here and just fucking hide out, right? Sometimes they're a pain in the ass. Sometimes they just, it varies. So anyhow, there I am doing my laps around the track, and there was a transgender that like hollered at me, was like, oh, you're too young to be a sergeant. And I'm like, what the fuck? The only thing I could say was, I'm shot out on the inside. You guys are probably laughing right now, but that's what came out. And the transgender's like, ooh, shot out on the inside? And I'm like, oh, fuck. And I just kept it moving, right? Just kept it fucking moving. But that's the kind of shit that I was exposed to. Dudes telling on top of telling, where they're telling, and I'm like, hey, man, stop. I don't want to hear no more. Like, that's enough. I got enough, man. I got enough. You know, like giving up information and stuff. I didn't care to have all that extra jazz. You know what I mean? Like, it was too wild. It was a free-for-all. It was like, are there gangs? There's SNY gangs. There's what, the 2-5ers, the Northern Riders. There's these gangs, but like, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I didn't recognize them. I saw them there. They were there. They were kind of doing their thing, but Green Lighters, I didn't recognize them, as in like, because it didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me how you're going to leave a gang to go SNY and then just start up another gang. Like, if you're going to leave the gang for good. That's my advice, if I may do so, say so myself. But yeah, fuck, man, it's different. It's definitely different. I don't advise people to go SNY unless you ultimately have to, unless your life is in danger. What I do kind of recommend is those programming facilities. Right there, you got some dudes that have been around, dudes that I know, dudes that I have seen before, and they were just done. They were just tired, right? They were just, and I get it. I definitely get it. They're older in life. They get a shot at society. You know, all these people are paroling now. That wasn't a thing before. So the programming facilities are a good thing. There's a lot of action there. There's a lot of programs. There's all kinds of, yeah, there may be some weird dudes or different or mentally unstable dudes, but they stay to themselves. Like, you don't have to get up in the mix if you don't want to. So that's, and for the out-of-staters, what I'm talking about is, You have general population, sensitive needs yards, right? And then California Department of Corrections started this programming yards, where in essence they were level 2s and just gave them a lot of programs. Fucking yoga, stationary bicycles, self-help classes. Those are on every facility though, but I guess if there was a way out, right? What it would look like was GP to programming facility to the streets, right? And there was times where I was on a yard at Donovan, and I would try to help dudes get endorsed over to Echo Yard, right? Because you could tell they were done. The way they would talk, like, yeah, man, I'm trying to go home, right? So a lot of people trying to go home, a lot of action. So do the right thing. Do the right thing, right? Other than that, I'm gonna wrap it up. Once again, Merry Christmas. I'll probably elaborate more on this SNY GP topic a little later. So have a good day.